Christy was excited as she visited, with her husband, the dream house they intended to buy. Everything seemed perfect: the spacious kitchen, the lawn in the front, and the beautiful tree in the garden. However, a neighbour approached and warned, "You don't know what happened here." Christy was about to discover the dark truth behind that house. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. Christy took a deep breath as she got out of the car, feeling the warm afternoon sun caress her face. Her eyes scanned the facade of the house in front of her, a two-story colonial-style building with white windows framed by faded blue shutters. The lawn was trimmed, but Christy could already envision a beautiful garden with colourful flowers there. For months, she and her husband had been searching for the perfect place to lay down roots and start a family. After countless frustrating visits, Christy could hardly contain her excitement at finally finding a house that seemed to have potential. The real estate agent, a middle-aged man with a warm smile, greeted her at the entrance. "Welcome, Mrs. Christie. I'm excited to show you this property. It's been closed for about 10 years, but the owners have kept up basic maintenance." As they walked along the gravel path, Christie noticed an imposing tree in the front yard. Its robust branches stretched out majestically, providing a cozy shade. "What a beautiful tree! It would make a great spot for a swing," she thought to herself, imagining her future children playing there. Upon entering the house, Christie was greeted by a spacious entrance hall. Sunlight filtered through the dusty windows, revealing a wooden floor that, despite being worn, still held its original charm. The realtor guided her through the spacious living room, with a brick fireplace as the focal point. "This house has a lot of potential," explained the realtor. "With some repairs and a good cleaning, it will look like new. Unfortunately, I don't have much information about the family that lived here before." Christie nodded, absorbing every detail. The kitchen was large, with a central island that she imagined would be perfect for family meals. Climbing the creaky stairs, they found 4 bedrooms on the upper floor, each with its own unique charm. As Christie walked through the rooms, she felt an inexplicable sense of warmth. It was as if the house had been waiting for her, ready to hold new memories and stories. Despite the dust and the air of abandonment, there was a welcoming energy permeating the environment. In the master bedroom, Christie stopped in front of a large window that offered a panoramic view of the backyard. She imagined waking up every morning to that view, having her coffee while watching her children play outside. After the visit, Christie could hardly contain her excitement. On the way back home, her mind buzzed with ideas for decoration and renovations. She could hardly wait to share everything with her husband. That night during dinner, Christie excitedly described every detail of the house to her husband, Mark. Her eyes sparkled as she talked about the spacious rooms, the perfect tree for a swing, and all the possibilities the property offered. "It looks wonderful, dear," Mark smiled, infected by his wife's enthusiasm. "I can't wait to see it in person tomorrow." The next morning, the couple visited the house together. Christie watched anxiously for Mark's reactions, hoping he would share her excitement. To her relief, he seemed equally impressed. "You were right, Christie. This house has something special," Mark commented as they explored the backyard. They were about to leave when a lady approached the gate. Her face bore an expression of concern. "Hello, young ones," she greeted with a trembling voice. "Are you interested in this house?" Christie eagerly nodded. "Yes, we're thinking of buying it. It's beautiful, isn't it?" The lady frowned. "Well, I think you should know, there are rumours about this house." Christie's smile faltered. "Rumours? What kind of rumours?" The elderly woman looked around nervously before continuing. "When I moved here, the house was already empty, but the older neighbours tell strange stories." Christie and Mark exchanged apprehensive glances as the lady went on. "They say a family used to live here, a couple with 3 children. But when the children grew up and moved out, strange things began to happen." The atmosphere around them seemed to grow heavier as the neighbour continued her story. The couple started to isolate themselves. Only the man was seen outside. Some neighbours heard screams during the night. And the woman... Well, sometimes they saw her at the window, but they say she looked different. Christy felt a shiver run down her spine. The house that seemed so cosy just a few minutes ago now took on a grim tone in her imagination. One day, an ambulance came to take the woman, continued the lady. Days later, the news spread that she had passed away. Some even speculated that the husband might have done something. And days later, they say the man also died. The elderly woman concluded with a grave look. Something very strange happened in this house. A heavy silence fell over them. Christy looked at the house, her dreams of a happy home suddenly overshadowed by a cloud of mystery and possible tragedy. Mark put his arm around Christy's shoulders, his face tense. Christy, I don't know what might have happened here, but I don't want our family to live in a house with such a mysterious history. Christy felt her heart sink. She had fallen in love with that house, imagining it filled with laughter and love. Now, looking at the seemingly innocent facade, she couldn't help but think about the secrets those walls might hold. But something inside her refused to give up so easily. "Mark," she said, turning to her husband with determination in her eyes, "I am going to find out the truth about this house." In the days that followed, Christy plunged into a relentless investigation. She scoured public records to track down the family who had lived there. Her searches finally bore fruit when she managed to get in contact with Jimmy, one of the children of the couple who had lived in the house. Christy arranged a meeting with him at a local cafe. Jimmy was a middle-aged man with gentle eyes and a melancholic smile. As soon as they sat down, he began to tell the story of the house and his family. "That house," Jimmy began, his voice laden with emotion, "was built by my father, Zachary. He designed it exactly as my mother, Dorothy, dreamed." Christy listened carefully as Jimmy described the house in detail. The 4 spacious bedrooms, the large kitchen with a wide counter where his mother loved to prepare bread dough, the painting studio next to the living room, and the dining room with space for a 12-seater table. "My mother loved hosting dinner parties," Jimmy smiled at the memory. "And that big tree in the garden? My father planted it when I was born. It was a very happy house," he sighed. Christy felt a lump in her throat. The image of the happy and lively house that Jimmy described contrasted starkly with the dark rumours she had heard. "But then," Jimmy continued, his demeanour becoming more serious, "things began to change. We were already adults and no longer lived there when the first symptoms of dementia began to appear in my mother." Christy listened with a heavy heart as Jimmy recounted how his mother began not to recognise her own children, becoming agitated by their presence. "She only accepted my father around. We saw him becoming increasingly tired with the constant care." Jimmy explained that they suggested a specialised nursing home, but his father vehemently refused. He said that it was the house my mother knew and loved. He would never take her to a strange place. My father loved her too much for that. With tears in his eyes, Jimmy recounted how his father devotedly cared for Dorothy until the end. One day, she was taken to the hospital, very debilitated. She passed away a few days later, but she left in peace. Christy fought back her own tears, imagining the love and devotion of that couple. "We thought that now my father could start to live a little," Jimmy continued, "but we were surprised. Just 10 days after my mother passed away, he called us saying he wasn't feeling well. When we took him to the hospital, we discovered he was having a heart attack." Jimmy paused, wiping away a tear. "My father also passed away. It was as if he couldn't live without her." A heavy silence fell upon them. Christy felt her heart overflowing with emotion from the love and devotion story she had just heard. "I know that many rumours surround that house," Jimmy finally said. "But the only truth is that the house witnessed a beautiful love story. It was built as a testament to my father's love for my mother. The truth is that they loved each other so much that it was impossible to think of one without the other. And by fate's design, they didn't have to live without each other for long." Jimmy looked into Christie's eyes, a gentle smile on his lips. Know that a beautiful love story unfolded there, and I know my father would be very happy to know that a new family made that house a home again. Christie felt a wave of emotion wash over her. All her doubts and fears dissipated, replaced by a deep certainty. That house was not a place of tragedy or dark mystery. It was a symbol of enduring love, commitment, and devotion. With tears in her eyes, she thanked Jimmy for sharing his family's story. Leaving the cafe, she immediately called Mark. "Honey," she said, her voice choked with emotion, "I found out the truth about the house, and it's more beautiful than we could have imagined." Christie told Mark everything she had learned from Jimmy. The couple discussed at length, weighing all aspects of the decision before them. Finally, they reached a consensus. That house, with its history of love and devotion, was exactly the place where they wanted to raise their family. Christie and Mark bought the house and dedicated themselves to restoring it with care, respecting its history while preparing it for a new chapter. They planted a beautiful garden on the front lawn, just as Christie had envisioned. A swing was hung from the old tree. 10 years had passed since that day when Christie heard the supposed dark secrets of the house. Now, sitting on the front porch, she watched her 3 children playing happily in the garden. The house was full of life, love, and new memories. Occasionally, Christie thought about Zachary and Dorothy, the couple who had built and loved that house before them. She liked to imagine that in some way they would be happy to see the house once again filled with love and joy. As the sun set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Christie smiled, grateful for the decision they had made. She knew they were continuing the love that the house had always witnessed, writing their own chapter in a story that began long before them. The house that was once the subject of rumours and speculation was now known in the neighbourhood as a place of laughter, celebrations, and love. And so, the love story that began with Zachary and Dorothy continued, now through Christie, Mark, and their children, perpetuating a legacy of love, family, and home that transcended generations. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.